The president of the United States came to D.C. today. Yes, Netanyahu arrived to the United States of America. He actually had an entire highway set aside for him. And here's a video of him, arriving to meet with President Trump for the eighth time now. Excuse me, the eighth time now for what? To push Trump to go to war with Iran. That's kind of the gist. Netanyahu comes here. He brings his bags of dirty laundry, literally dirty laundry. There's articles written on him bringing his dirty laundry here. And then once he does, and he gives his dirty laundry to the staff, he starts immediately begging and salivating for war. That's kind of the Netanyahu way. And as Americans, we take that, and the American government just accepts that because of the fact that the entire American government is bought out by the Israel lobby. So, again, this was all reported today, and Donald Trump posted on Truth Social. I have just finished a meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel and various of his representatives. It was a very good meeting. The tremendous relationship between our two countries continue. There was nothing definitive reached other than I insisted the negotiations with Iran continue to see whether or not a deal can be made. If it can, I let the prime minister know that will be a preference. So, of course, kind of saying the exact same thing we heard prior to the strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. If it cannot, we will just have to see what the outcome will be. Last time, Iran decided that they were better off not making a deal, and they were hit with midnight hammer. That did not work out well for them. Hopefully, this time they will be more reasonable and responsible. Additionally, we discussed the tremendous progress being made in Gaza and the region in general. There is truly peace in the Middle East. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And that there you have it, and that's what he said. And of course, whatever Netanyahu wants, Netanyahu tends to get. Netanyahu also signed the declaration today for joining the Board of Peace. So after Netanyahu was, the one who basically led to the murder of thousands of Palestinians in Gaza, he now joined the Board of Peace for Gaza and now oversees that. So that's kind of what happens in the United States or in the West after a country just completely wipes out and annihilates a group of people in a concentrated zone. They then become part of the Board of Peace of that and oversee them. And that's normalized because, well, Israel controls everything, it seems like. So Benjamin Netanyahu stated today, met with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio at Blair House in Washington. And here's him actually signing. I signed the Israel's decision as a member of the Board of Peace. True, I think the guy is actually like as close as you can get to saying. I personally think so. And there you have it. Now he's signed. And this is kind of the Israel way. This is kind of the Israel way. So keep in mind that last time when all of this was going on, when Iran's nuclear talks were going on and they reached a dead end, what ended up happening is the United States used its B-2 bombers to knock out Iran's nuclear sites. They state that it was a very precise hit and it was very successful, and we were able to really send Iran back. The data on that is really iffy. Not too much has been available publicly to really make a determined analysis of that. And now, though, Israel's not satisfied, of course, because now they're saying that they want the United States not just to strike Iran's nuclear sites, but they want the United States to strike Iran's missile production sites. So all of those ICBM sites, Israel wants the United States to knock those out, but not, of course, just knock those out. The ultimate goal is for regime change. And to have actual effective regime change operation, it's not just going to be a few airstrikes here and there. Actually, it's very, very difficult to incite regime change by airstrikes. Very, very difficult. What Israel's trying to push the United States to go into is war. It's very obvious. And, ultimately, if that were to happen, the United States simply couldn't afford it. It couldn't afford another war. And that's what Israel wants to drag us into. Tell me again how Israel's America's greatest ally. In what way does this benefit America at all? No way whatsoever. It doesn't benefit America. But because of the fact that the Israel lobby's tentacles are so deeply intertwined in this country, we can't really work our way out of this situation. Because our president is blackmailed by Israel, we can't really work our way out of this situation. Because our president accepted $250 million from Miriam Adelson, we can't really work our way out of this situation. So all we can really do is just report on it and just watch it as this entire, pile of trash just unfolds at our faces. I'm really starting to just get it's really shocking to see just how ingrained this all is. So let me go ahead and share my screen one more time here. Sorry for the sniffles, guys. I'm not feeling the best, but anyways, ahead of my meeting at the White House with President Trump, I signed Israel's decision. I just went ahead and stated that. So, in a jaw-dropping disclosure, President Trump's Board of Peace is likely to replace the entire United Nations. That's an exaggeration. The United States has approximately seized $2 billion in funding to render it ineffective. Approximately 30 countries have already joined. Here's just some claps for the Board of Peace thing. So basically, what the Board of Peace is a way to make Gaza a real estate investment opportunity. It's not any pathway to statehood. Actually, it says, for those curious, it says that when the Board of Peace thinks that the time is right, they will decide when they will allow the PA to then run Gaza. And there's no actual definitive end date. And who exactly is the Board of Peace? Well, it's Netanyahu is on the Board of Peace. All of these other countries that don't have Gaza's interests or the Palestinian people's interests in mind. When they decide that they're happy to give Gaza to the PA, then they will do so, meaning never. That's what it means. And they're just going to stick in as many industrial sites as possible, have a free trade zone, make it great for international investors. And when it comes to Palestinian sovereignty, you just kind of put that at the wayside. That's kind of the entire plan. If you looked at the map of the Board of Peace, by the way, or sorry, of the map of Gaza that the Board of Peace plans to implement, what you end up seeing is six different concentrated camps, six different regions. All of them are separated by agricultural sites, and then there's only one main highway. So basically, you have the perfect layout to completely enclose certain areas. Whenever there's an uprising in one, well, you can immediately shut that down to make sure there's no consistent communication by any. It's not designed like any other city anywhere else in the world. It's designed to be separate and be easy to control. It's not designed to be interconnected like any other normal city. That's not how it works. They try to brand it as if it's this great new opportunity, while in reality they're literally living in just concentrated zones, and it's going to be an AI surveillance state. Every single time they want to go back into their neighborhood, they're going to have to get their faces scanned. Every time they want to leave, they're going to have to get their faces scanned and their fingerprints and everything else. And guess what? If you think, well, that's the Palestinians' faults in Gaza, I don't really care. It doesn't influence me. The technology that they use on Palestinians, this surveillance AI technology that they're using on Palestinians, is being privatized and is eventually going to make its way on your doorstep. That's the thing. Whatever's tested on Palestinians first ends up reaching everybody else in the world later, which is why it matters for all of us, because it will eventually reach us one day, and you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, wow, I'm required to do a face scan every single building I go into. And you're going to be like, oh, wait, that's Israeli technology. That's where that came from. Now I remember. They had Palestinians being used as experiments, as, lab mice, and now it's making its way to my door. So that's really it for this video, guys. If you found it interesting, I'd appreciate it if you click the subscribe button below and also give it a thumbs up. Also, if you want to join as a member, I do member-only videos every night. So if you click the membership, it's like $5 a month, and it helps me do this as a full-time job. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.